Hello, and welcome to yet another day in this vlog. This is going to be the first one that's sort of a lot more about life as general rather than being specific to me. And it's going to be, I'm just going to be going through a couple of tips for budgeting if you're at university. And I had to learn these the hard way, but if you follow them, they do help massively in terms of getting your weekly and your living costs down. And so, just dive straight in. The first tip I'd give you would be to try to make a meal plan for yourself. Like I explained in not yesterday's video, I think it was the day before, and that's because that means that if you follow that meal plan, you can get the same food each week, and therefore, unless there's a massive price change, the price will stay the same. Will stay to a similar price each week for your food, and then. And then if you can then have a similar price, and it's also if you've got a meal plan, you're like, right, I have to stick to this. You're less likely to go out and be like, oh, you know what, I'll just get a takeaway tonight. And speaking of takeaways, my second one would be limit how often you get a takeaway. I know that with things like Deliveroo and Uber Eats in the world, it is hard to be like, no, it is hard to say no to a takeaway. But takeaways are expensive. And if you can limit yourself to once a month, if that, once every 2 months, or special occasions like New Year's, Christmas, birthdays, or anything, and rather than a Friday night takeaway, then that will bring down your living costs massively. Another thing to limit would be how often you'd go out, and I mean out like clubbing and pubs and shit, if they were open. On average, a night out, say you went out to a club, admission, drinks and taxi home on average can cost upwards of 50-60 quid. And if you're going out every single weekend, sometimes twice in a weekend, that's hundreds of pounds a week, hundreds of pounds a month. And whereas if you're going out, say, once a month or once every 6 weeks, then it's another cost that you're bringing right down. Another thing that I'd suggest would be when you're doing your weekly shop, or however often you do your shopping, always have a look at at the shop's own brand. Often these will be a lot cheaper. So, for example, if you're buying baked beans in Asda, look for their Smart Price. They're a lot cheaper than Heinz, and they're significant, and they're very similar. Like things like that. They're the same thing. And another thing would be keep an eye out for any grant or scholarship opportunities that might pop up during your studies, and depending on how well you can handle having a job and working, consider having a look for a part-time job, or, as I suggest, work for something like Deliveroo, because all you need is a bike. They give you all the backpacks and uniform and things, and you can earn money when it suits you. You choose when you want to work. So having that, you can work that completely around your studies, and it supplements any loans or anything that are coming in. And another thing is, with things like Netflix and Spotify and Disney Plus, always have a look and see if there's a student subscription plan. Like, for instance, Spotify have a student subscription plan where it's, instead of £10 a month, it's £5 a month. Yeah, and if your accommodation isn't on or near campus, or right next to campus, the university might run a bus service or a shuttle service between your accommodation and the campus. For instance, Leicester, where I'm at right now, the bulk of the university accommodation is about 2.5 miles from the campus itself. So the University of Leicester run a shuttle bus, and you can't. There's no pay-as-you-go option. You do have to get a pass per semester, and that is a big spend. But in the long run, say you were 2 miles from campus and you didn't want to walk that, and so that you've got a public transport, so you've got a bus. It's significantly cheaper than using regular public transport. I think that's about it, really. So yeah, just limit how much you go out, limit how much takeaway you're getting. Try to stick to similar things each week with your food, and try and find a way to sort of supplement your income without threatening your ability to produce quality work for your course. Right, that, I believe, is that, and I shall leave you till tomorrow, when I believe, let me settle that, I believe tomorrow is going to be talking about my experience of freshers. I shall see you tomorrow.